Officer Shanna De Leon, who goes by the handle of Inco here in the flight control room. One of the 3 internal flight test cameras that are endemic to Orion is providing a bit of a degraded quality picture. It will be cycled on and off, and of course that and one other flight test camera. You're looking at the image currently from flight test camera 3. We're hoping to get that improved through a power cycle that the INCO officer here in Mission Control will initiate a short time from now. And that camera and another will be powered down when we move through the Van Allen radiation belt for the first of 2 such transits through this high radiation period to test Orion's ability to withstand the effects of radiation through its shielding and to see Thanks very much, Brandy. Back here in Mission Control in the Orion Flight Control Room. This is the Blue Flight Control Room, which was the initial room at which International Space Station operations was inaugurated back in 1998. The ISS was controlled from here all the way through 2006. The ISS, of course, now controlled from a separate flight control room since then, as those teams of flight controllers watch over the 6 crew members on board the International Outpost 24 hours a day. But the focus of attention today is in this room where Mike Seraphin, the lead flight director, and his team of flight controllers have been on console since early this morning and now are carefully watching over all of the systems of Orion as we pass the 1 hour 13-minute mark into the mission. Orion is currently orbiting over the Pacific Ocean, moving from southwest to northeast in an orbit inclined 28.45 degrees to either side of the equator, orbiting at an altitude of 546 by 124 statute miles. Countdown clocks here in Mission Control are ticking backward toward the reignition, the second burn of the upper stage of the Delta IV rocket that is scheduled 41.5 minutes from here in the flight control room. The team of flight controllers once again looking over the data from its console positions. One of the busiest consoles is the INCO console, the Instrumentation and Communications Officer here in Mission Control. That is Shanna De Leon, who is sitting next to Mike Seraphin, the lead flight director here in the Blue Flight Control Room, the Orion Flight Control Room. She's busy monitoring the dumping of data files in the form of video and monitoring the preparation for a number of the onboard systems to be powered down, including the flight test cameras as at the point that we would be entering the first radiation period, the first passage through the Van Allen radiation belt that will be occurring a short time after we break out of low Earth orbit and a short time after we head towards peak altitude. Some of the key times to be monitoring upcoming here will be the second or reignition of the upper stage of the Delta IV rocket that's expected at 8 a.m. Central Time. Again, that will be about a 4.5-minute burn of the single-engine Stage 2, the upper stage of the Delta IV. The first stage separated at about the 5-minute 40-second mark into the flight after the on-time launch from the Cape Canaveral Air Force Station at 6:05 a.m. Central Time, 7:05 a.m. Eastern Time this morning. Again, the refiring of the upper stage of the Delta IV rocket to propel Orion out of low Earth orbit coming up at 8 a.m. Central Time. We expect SECO-2, or second stage engine cutoff number 2, to occur at 8:05 a.m. Right after that, at 8:44 a.m., the propulsion officer here in Mission Control will be monitoring the activation of Orion's reaction control system jets. Again, these are 2 strings of 6 thrusters apiece, a total of 12 thrusters in all on Orion. power-up of Orion after it splashes down in the Pacific to enable Lockheed Martin to acquire additional bonus thermal data on the behavior and performance of the spacecraft as it bobs up and down in the Pacific, waiting for its recovery by the U.S. Navy NASA recovery team. A 10-second firing of the thrusters on Orion is scheduled at 10:02 a.m. Central Time. That is called a crew module raise burn. That's the nomenclature for essentially a testing of the thrusters to put it in the proper attitude or orientation prior to entry interface that is scheduled at 10:16 a.m. Central Time today. And then at that point, everything moves in very, very fast fashion as we move from a point where Orion will be traveling about 20,000 miles an hour to a point at splashdown some 12 minutes later, where it will splash down at a gentle rate under 3 main parachutes at about the flight of Orion will be entering some of the most critical phases of all of the Orion program test objectives a short time from now. Orion's systems have so far functioned so well that there has been almost no conversation on the flight loops by any of the flight controllers here in Mission Control. They are watching over their data, waiting to address some issue that they fully expected to crop up in a test flight, and that's the whole purpose of this, is to exercise all of Orion's systems. But so far Orion is betraying any opportunity for any conversation about a problem, because there simply are none at this point, at the 2-hour, 10-minute mark into the mission. For post-splashdown activities and the monitoring of data, and there you can see in the mission director's room at Hangar AE at the Cape Canaveral Air Force Station, smiles, exuberance, celebration. Orion's maiden flight from start to finish was picture perfect. Significant milestones achieved for the Orion program as we move forward towards future steps that will ultimately take us to Mars. But this day belonged to the team all the way around: Lockheed Martin, United Launch Alliance, NASA, all of the contractors involved in the development and testing of Orion for what turned out to be the most perfect flight you could ever imagine in a first flight of a vehicle that was being tested, a brand new vehicle launched on a Delta IV rocket, a splashdown right on target in the Pacific Ocean, a significant milestone for America's space program. Orion has now been powered down in the Pacific Ocean, setting the stage for the rest of the recovery work to begin by the NASA U.S. Navy team out in the Pacific Ocean. It's been 1 hour since Orion returned to Earth following a picture-perfect 4-hour, 24-minute shakedown mission.
NRD, flight on recovery loop.
And Houston Flight, this is NRD, go ahead.
NRD, I am happy to report that Orion is powered down, and we are not carrying any hazards associated with recovery. While we're not quite sure what happened with the fifth CMIS bag, right now we do not have any liens against recovery per the hazard checklist. How do you copy?
And Houston Flight, I copy loud and clear. That's great news, Mike. Our team is anxious and ready to approach the CM and get into our nominal recovery into the well deck of the anchorage. And knowing there's no hazards makes it a whole lot easier for us moving forward through the rest of the recovery.
Okay, you understand. Pass on our thanks to the captain and crew of the USS Anchorage and the USNS Salvor. Today was a great day for America. We challenged our best and brightest to continue to lead in space. The men and women of America poured their hearts and souls into this mission, and along the way they inspired others. We became part of something greater than ourselves, and while this was an unmanned mission, we were all on board Orion. NRD, we're going to sign off from Houston.
And Houston Flight, great words. Congratulations to you and your team for an outstanding mission. It's pretty amazing to put Orion exactly in the spot that you had predicted. Put it in a great place for us to recover it, and we'll be spending the next couple hours getting Orion squared away and into the Anchorage's well deck. From our side here, all the recovery forces are very excited, and we appreciate the great work you guys did today, and we'll continue working.
We copy NRD, and we look forward to the return of Orion.
Copy that. Thank you, sir.
Houston signing off.